I'll introduce it. Can I introduce this one?
Yeah, I guess so. You took my A.
Bobby Orr. Welcome back. It's another week of the Basic As podcast. I'm doing the intro this week because I'm just taking the bull by the horns. And I think I did a pretty good job. What do you reckon?
You did take the bull by the horns.
Yep. So it's episode 7. And what did we talk about last week, John?
Talked about a couple of things.
Yeah, there was a bit in there. Bit to unpack.
A fair bit to unpack in that last episode. We tried to unpack as much as we could.
Yep.
A little bit of childhood trauma sort of stuff. We then touched on the Russian-Ukraine war. Very wholesome topic.
Yeah.
And then got into tinfoil hats and
We did.
that good stuff.
And then technology and kids.
Technology and kids.
Which is where we're going to start today.
Because I think that's a very, I don't know what you'd kind of call it, like an interesting subject. It's a very, I guess it's probably very contested.
Yeah, I think it's one that would polarize a lot of people. And
well,
what I
these
mean by
days,
that.
there's like, and we were just talking about it just before we started, like, we didn't have those options.
Nope.
We did not have those options.
Like to have a mini computer, like, that you can access the internet, anything you want.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have like parental locks on it or whatever,
Yeah.
like, you can just go and research anything.
Yeah.
You
like
can
the
find
sky's the limit. Like
could
your
just-
imagination is the only thing holding you back.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And like, yeah.
To be able to do that, I think there are ramifications for it, 100%. Like I do think they're handy to have. When did
Well,
you
they're
get your
important.
first phone?
I got a hand-me-down 3315
Yep.
Nokia.
That's nostalgic.
I probably would have been 13 or 14. And it was
Okay,
my
yep.
sister's.
Yep.
And so she then got a Nokia 2100, which had a camera in it, which was like a massive thing because I
Yeah.
eventually got that phone as well.
That was
hand-me-down.
hectic. Yeah.
But it had a 2 megapixel camera.
You remember the exact specs of it?
Because that was like whole. Because I remember being like, that's a lot. But now, like, I don't know what these have, but they have a lot more than
Yeah.
2.
It's basically like a fucking nearly DSLR level.
Yeah.
Almost,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like they would have, like at least 24 megapixels.
Yep.
So I don't know what that's like 10 times the amount, even more.
And just then, like, my brain goes to like the things that irresponsible kids can do with like videoing equipment and taking photos and
Yeah.
and it's happened. Like
We always hear about it. Like if you watch free to air TV, there's always stories about stuff. And like a big thing that comes to mind with me specifically is I worked in the bank, and I remember hearing a story on like a current affair where a Westpac customer had their credit card linked to their iPad, and it was just like they could just buy stuff. So it was all synced up, and their kid was playing Roblox. I think the kid was 4, and he spent $7,000 worth on Roblox stuff, in-game purchases.
what is Roblox?
It's a kid's game.
Oh, okay.
It's a kid's game. And you can,
the people that developed that game,
well, yeah,
you
it's
knew
like
what you were fucking
it's,
doing.
It's like most of those games now where they're free to play,
Yeah,
but you
but-
get in-game purchases, and that's where
Oh.
they make their money. Like the Pokemon Go's, the Fortnites, and then the Roblox.
Yeah, you're not getting that money back, are you?
No, and so then the whole thing was like the parents were obviously like, well, how are we supposed to pay this? Because $7,000 was a lot to them in 1 month.
Oh, so
to
it was
just-
a credit card.
Credit
on
card,
it.
yeah.
Oh.
and they obviously had at least a $7,000 limit. And then they were going to the bank and saying, well, we want a refund, and unfortunately,
gonna get it.
no, from a banking point of view, no, you're not going to get a
Yeah,
refund.
not gonna happen.
Because and then that's where does it lie? Like they didn't want to take responsibility for that.
Yeah,
But they gave the child the iPad. They put their credit card on there. They didn't foresee that was going to be a problem.
shit, man. I wonder how long it took him to rack up that bill.
They said only a couple of days.
Okay. Fuck.
But like,
That's
yeah,
a
'cause
lot of money for a kid to spend on it.
or it was everything, man. He was just ripping through and buying everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
shit.
Yeah. And it would have been like really micro purchases as well, like $4 or $5 each time. So he potentially would have done like thousands of transactions.
Man, that's hectic. And the kid was like 4?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
and he was just getting dopamine hits left, right, and
Yeah.
center.
See, kids aren't supposed to get that, man.
Like his brain was like,
Yeah.
oh,
And now he's had it, and now he's been blooded.
yeah.
You know, That's-
been
he's
blooded.
been blooded, bro. You know, it's like when
purchases, in-game purchases.
Like-
Give me those in-game purchases.
but you know what the term blooded means,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it's a dog term.
Huntington dog.
Yeah,
Huntington or-
I'm not a hunting person, but I learned off a lot of hunters that bred dogs, and the term is blooded. You use it in football as well when you've got a new kid who's playing seniors, to blood him, get him his first taste of the real thing, and yeah, it's like when
And you got blooded.
I
Like
remember.
every week you were just like, oh, it's new game, new day, new blood.
no, but I remember not long ago, like Loco, my little Jack Russell.
Yeah.
So I wanted her not to be specifically because like once a dog has had that reward, that's all they're ever going to want. And I've tried to explain this to a person. Like I had a client, I won't say their name, but they had a dog who had a really high, he was a rescue.
Oh,
A lot of people fall into this trap of rescuing bull Arabs. And this dog
Yeah, it's definitely a bull Arab. Definitely.
had jumped out of a boat, swam to shore, and killed a kangaroo, all in the space of very short amount of time, obviously. And so, where they live, like along the walks, he sees kangaroos, he smells kangaroos, and they can't figure out why he goes absolutely fucking bananas.
Oh,
And
mate, it
mate-
doesn't take a rocket scientist.
No, and it's unfortunate because the dog has like broken his owner's arm, like pulling on the lead, like just out of nowhere. He's caught odor, and he's gone boom like a missile straight over to where he knows the kangaroos are gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's it's unfortunate that happens. And they're like, how do you, like, why does he do that? And it's like, well, it just makes sense to him genetically,
Yeah.
and.
They are animals at the end of the day, and they're very primal.
Yes.
And that's a very primal thing.
And especially bull Arabs, so oftentimes are bred specifically for pig hunting, and if they don't make the cut as judged by the person that's bred them, they'll be put in a box, put on the side of the road, and then they get rescued by an organization, and then these people think they're doing a great thing by rehoming all these dogs to people that, have the best intentions, but have absolutely no fucking idea.
Yeah, not with those types of dogs.
Not with those types of dogs. A
Yeah.
dog with like serious physical prowess and also
How
the
big was
desire-
that dog?
that he's about 50 kilos. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oftentimes they're crossbreed, so it's like a bull Arab with a wolfhound or a stag hound. So
Jesus.
they're quite big dogs. They can cover ground quite well. Very athletic, super powerful things.
Good for pigging.
Good for pigging. Often really bad with other dogs.
No doubt. Yep.
And they need to be exercised and satiated in a way that not a lot of people know how to do or are prepared to do. But anyways, it brings me back to that young kid who has now been blooded after playing Roadblocks or whatever it was called
Yeah,
on the
Roblox,
iPad. Like
yeah.
just fucking severe dopamine hits, man.
Yeah, that
Just
pr-
like,
that is interesting because I guess they often talk about another game that's very infamous in that world is Fortnite, and they talk about how
yep.
there's all these crazy stories about Fortnite, like people not like kids not leaving the computer and just like pissing and shitting themselves because they
No
don't,
fucking way.
because they don't
Really?
want to leave. Yeah, because they don't want to leave the game.
Yeah,
It's
because
just,
it loads in and then they
Yeah.
don't want to,
they don't want to miss out, so they like
Yeah.
just can't even go to the toilet. And
mate,
those are,
that's chronic.
and that's an extreme case, right? But there's things, and they have because there is the ability to make literal millions of dollars with Fortnite through the championships and stuff like that. That people like try to become like a Fortnite person, and then that becomes like their sole thing, right? And then
Fuck.
what is the long term effects of the last kid that won?
Diabetes.
Yeah,
That's the long-term effects of that.
probably.
And that's not a lie.
But like then also the mental stuff. Like there was a kid, he won like some crazy amount, like tens of millions of dollars for winning this certain event. In
A Fortnite event.
Yeah, in Fortnite. Yeah. And he was 16. Like
Yeah, what is a kid supposed to do? What is a kid supposed to do with Even
not even the money side of things. So say like he's looked after in that regard. Like his parents are very responsible and they look after him and set it all up, and he's set for life sort of thing. But like, what about mentally?
yeah. Talk to me about like what you think.
Well, surely he'd never get that sort of high again, and
Probably not.
then potentially would chase it through
Other means, yeah.
other substances most
Yeah,
likely.
100%. Yep. Yep.
You
That's
know,
it. You're probably not gonna, unless he's like continues to play Fortnite and that becomes his career, or other video
But
games,
even
whatever.
then, like, would he still be as good? Because they talk about like the reason he's so good is because he's younger and his reflexes are better.
Yep.
And like, would he age out?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and then be someone better than him, right?
Probably, yeah.
So
And therein lies the moral dilemma of like, and they say, oh, it's up to your parents to let you, whether or not they let you play this game. Well, maybe there should be more restrictions on it. They know what they're doing, man. They know it's super addictive.
Yeah.
They know it. Like
Yeah.
all the colors, like the patterns, like the way things move,
Well,
the
they're
sounds.
engineered,
They're
right?
engineered.
Yeah.
And all the research and development that goes into something like that, it's, hours and hours and hours and
It's
millions.
$1 billion industry.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I know. It's, yeah. And it's going to get even worse when, like, we're at the forefront now of virtual reality.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be nuts, man.
It's going to be fucking crazy for our kids, man.
And you know what it reminds me of is like Ready Player One. You seen
I
that?
haven't seen that
Oh,
movie.
I haven't seen that,
No.
man. Fucking go
Is
see
that good? Should I watch it?
Absolutely.
Who's in it?
People. I don't know anyone. I can't think of anyone off the top.
When
of
did
my
the
head.
movie come out?
A couple of years ago.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
But so like the whole concept of the movie is that there is this massive game, the Oasis, and it's like VR, and you go into the game. And
So like the metaverse?
yeah, basically, yeah. So
Yep.
and then like everyone goes and plays in it, like and stuff like that, and there's money to be won in it and stuff like that, and it's just like that's where it sort of goes. And then like the bad guy in it was trying to take it over so that then he could start advertising, because the people that made it, the two creators, were very pure and were all about the game, the story, all of that sort of stuff, the experience, and they didn't do much with advertising.
Yep.
And so the bad guy wants to overtake it, and he talks about like being able to put, because everything's VR and stuff like that, they say that they can put X amount of ads on there before people start seizing. Like that's what they talk about.
Yeah, right.
They say that they can like cover up, and they have an example, and there's like all these flashing things up there.
Like so that you see subliminally.
Yeah, or
Yep.
they, not so subliminally either. So it's just like fucking,
Yeah,
oh,
fucking.
Jesus.
Yeah, have a fucking coke, cunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah,
And then it reminds me of Altered Carbon. That's another one as well.
I haven't seen that either. You've seen a lot more movies than I have.
That's a TV show. And
Oh,
the
okay.
first season is very good, but like he's that's where all of their entire existence is in their, they have some name for it, but it's like basically in the back of their skull or back of their thing.
Yeah,
and
right.
so people can get new bodies. And so this guy gets woken up.
Oh,
He
okay.
gets woken up after like a few hundred years or something. So then,
He gets a different body but his mind's still fucking rolling on.
Yeah. And then he's like walking around, and there's just all these things like going on in his brain, and because he hasn't got a certain thing on, he can get all these certain advertisements. I'm really like butchering it.
Yeah,
But then this girl puts something on the back of his thing, and that covers it, so then he can't see all those ads.
so he feels better.
Yeah, well, he's not like,
Fuck.
because they're just everywhere, but only you can see them because they're like, infrared or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's just getting spammed with fucking dildo
Yeah, basically.
ads.
Yeah, basically. Like it's like when I do editing of this stuff, I sometimes will look up clips, and I want to download them from YouTube so that I can overlay them.
Yes.
I use this one clip converting thing. And
And then all the ads come up.
Oh man!
Yeah.
But then every time I click on something, a pop up comes. I'm like, close
Fuck
that,
off.
close that,
Yep.
and it just the whole process takes like twice as long
Mm-hmm.
because there's all these pop ups. So then you wonder, like that's this is a very roundabout way of asking, like, when do you think you would introduce sort of that sort of stuff to Billy, like mobile games,
Man,
PlayStations, that sort of stuff? Because
I'm a self.
so
I call myself like a technophobe.
Technophobe. Okay.
Yeah, I use technology, but I see what it's doing, and I don't like it. You know,
Mm.
I'm basically a fucking 70-year-old man living in this fucking shell.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
And so therefore, I have opinions and thoughts, and I've spoken to Han about them, and I know that you've spoken to Tegan about it as well. It's like, you know, I don't want it to be a massive thing. Like, and Han and I don't want it to be a huge part of our kids' upbringing. Like virtual reality, fucking kick that shit. We got the best fucking virtual reality right here. You know what I mean? Like,
This studio, you mean?
yep, just life in general.
Oh,
Like,
I thought you meant studio.
you know,
I've
go into
worked
it.
very hard on this.
You have. It's fucking great.
With
Go
the
into
lights.
a fucking wheelie on a bike. You know,
Yeah.
like kick the footy. Fucking, I'll pump money into that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I will not fucking. If you ask for a fucking PlayStation 17 or whatever it is, by the time, however, you know, long we get into the fucking thing, I'm probably not going to get you one, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I just don't want you to. Like, I grew up with gaming consoles,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was fucking pretty good. But they were like fucking Sega Mega Drive, like Nintendo,
They were
like
basic
yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, comparatively
to this. And it's like, yeah, I might get you a fucking Nintendo Switch. My mate Brad, he's got one, and you know, like it's got all the old Nintendo games on it. And I'm like,
Nice.
that seems like something. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, fair enough. You know, but like the desensitization to violence
Oh, yeah.
through how realistic games are these days in
Mm.
terms of, you know, like Grand Theft Autos, your fucking Call of Duties, man, that's fucked up.
When they're hyper violent as well.
Hyper violent.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically learning like from a young age, like how to go and, you know, how to go about certain aspects of, you know, close quarters fucking combat. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
it's like, I just don't know if that's something that I want my kids to have. Like, I'd much rather try and pay attention to them as opposed to them go off and sit in the other living room and play the fucking
Yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
In saying that, I play a lot of FIFA, but it's pretty much the only game I play. You know
And
what I
that
mean?
could be an interesting thing where that's a reward for you and Billy to play together.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're playing with him, I suppose, opposed to, here you go your hardest. I'm going to be in the other room, like you
Yeah.
said.
Yep.
You know, and it's like unsupervised. They're just doing whatever.
Absolutely. And I've got a lot of mates that go, you know, like, fucking video games raised me. And I'm like, yeah, that's an interesting point that you raised. But, like, you know, I don't want that. And I certainly don't want to cave into my kids because they're like, well, fucking, you know, young Jeremy, he's got a fucking
Yeah, and that's
iPad,
what I
or
think
he's
will
got a
always
fucking-
be very hard.
It's going to be. It's because that's what I did. I know
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I know that that's what I did, you know, but I'll be like, okay, there's going to be certain rules and boundaries around what it is that you can do. Okay, so first off, like the first thing I think of is like, if you get a phone, you can have it if you need to go to school, like that's a thing, but it's going to have all the fucking parental locks on it, man. Like, I'm going to fucking try and, you know, safety proof that fucking thing as much as I can. And then as soon as you get in the fucking door, that's it. Like, it's mine. Goes in a box, you don't get it back. Because it's not important for you to go online and do all the shit that you're not supposed to do as a kid. You know, you're supposed to tap out from that sort of shit.
Yeah, and
You
you
know?
know, obviously online bullying and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like it doesn't go away, sort of thing. Like,
Fuck
you know,
no.
if they're getting bullied at school and then they go home and they go online and they're still getting bullied online.
Fucking oath. And that happens. Like, that happened to Han.
Yeah,
Yeah, fucking oath it did, mate.
that sucks, man.
Yeah, and it was through, like, I can't remember what it was. It was like MSN or something like that.
Oh,
But,
yeah?
like, that was what we grew up with. Hey,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like MSN was, you know, you'd go to school, talk to your friends all day, and then you come home and talk to them on the fucking computer.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's what you did because it was like the cool thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, kids need a break from that shit. It's
Yeah.
like you were saying to me last time. It's like the statistics about kids with their mental health and you know youth suicide and stuff like that is way higher,
Yeah, yeah.
way higher than what it ever used to be.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, you know, there's obviously there's no smoke without fire, sort of thing.
100%.
No fire without smoke.
No smoke without fire. You got
Nice.
it. Yeah,
I did go.
you got it right, man.
Okay, overthinking it. I'll Google it 'Cause I can.
I promise you, you got it right.
because I can though, but I can Google
You
it.
can Google
'Cause
it.
I'm an
Yeah,
adult and I
Yep.
have a phone.
you're an adult and you have a phone.
Yeah, that's always a tricky one, and obviously that's something that you see very openly in society these days, where babies will have first thing they do, and it's so easy to say, especially me sitting here now with no bun in the oven, none in the foreseeable future, in the next few months at least. So it's very easy to be like, we don't want to be those types of people.
Yeah, I know for a fact I don't want to be.
Yeah,
You know, and it's like, so all I've got to go off now is like my nephew George.
Yeah.
Okay, and like this isn't a like it is. It can be on the phone. It can be on a device, but generally I'll watch it on TV. And so my sister does really well with trying to limit his screen time and shit like that. And but Coco Melon, man, it's like a fucking trance.
Yeah,
He's in like a trance.
yeah.
You know, he's just there glued to it. And I'm
Mm.
like, what the fuck, man? Like you can like grab him and like he's just not moving his focus.
Yeah.
It's like he's hypnotized
Yeah.
by what is going on there.
Those
And
people have got that shit down packed.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've done a lot of research, like R&D into what specific like frequencies, like keys of music they use, fucking all sorts of shit, like shapes, how big, you know, or how small things are. Fucking oath, man.
Yeah, and what they're trying to do is get the kids' attention.
Yep.
Just so that they could then potentially advertise to them.
Advertise, sell things, because
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
It's like the Cocomelon toys and all that
That's
sort of
become
shit.
a thing now. Like, yeah, I've been starting to see it more in shopping centers.
Cocomelon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking everywhere, man.
And it's just like,
It's
holy
a
shit.
fucking plague.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Like, you watch, like, there might even be videos of it. Like, this will be good when Tegan comes in. We can, like, hey, Tegan, can you get up a video of
Yeah.
fucking a kid watching Cocomelon? Like,
Yeah,
you know?
well, I know it from PewDiePie. So I watch a lot of PewDiePie.
So
and
what does he say?
Well, the big thing was they were an up and coming, and they were going to overtake him as the
What?
most subscribed.
Cocomelon?
Yeah,
Shit.
they are now overtaking him. So, but that was a big thing, and he jokingly, someone made the exact same intro of Cocomelon, but in a PewDiePie one, and someone put a PewDiePie video on, and their kid was like Cocomelon, but then
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Lost it.
Because they had the same
Yeah.
yeah,
Cocomelon!
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah.
Yep. George will hear it and he'll just come running from
Yeah,
the other side of
and
the
so
house.
it's like they're trained.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are. They're fucking conditioned to it.
Yeah,
Like, and me saying, I'm like, nah.
yeah,
Nah.
yeah.
And so I'll try and make him watch something else. Like, for some reason, he doesn't like Bluey as much. You know, I don't think that there's as much hypnotic power in that. It sort of reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where they're like, Ivan at Viage,
Join the Navy.
join the Navy.
No, the other one's when they're in Japan. And then it's the they have the epileptic one. They come in, they're like, "Whoa!" The flashing. That's even better. It's like, "Du-du-du-du-du-du-du." And it's like Transformers,
Yeah.
but just with flashing lights.
That's what Dragon Ball Z was like, man, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
It was just...
yeah,
fucking-
yeah.
I never had a seizure, but not when I was a kid.
Nah, that would have been the life, man.
What, having a seizure?
Whilst watching Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I don't know what it would have felt like. Probably would have been pretty bad. But yeah, like I think back to when we were kids, and it's like, well, what did we have access to? It's like I asked you when you got your first phone, and you said 13. I was around the same time, but phones were very different, and like
text and call. That's it.
Text and call.
and limited text.
limited text. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. And you know, no other, like you still had to do your banking the normal way and stuff like that. And you know, like I'm pretty sure that there are devices out there now for kids, especially that only have certain
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
And I'd be like, yep, 100%.
Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
for
So
gold.
they have those ones. Yeah, they're kind of more like the phone that we had.
Yeah, but you're not having a fucking iPhone. I tell you what, you can get an iPhone when you get a fucking job.
Okay then.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, when you get a job and you can pay for it.
Yeah, yeah. Because iPhones, man, they're crazy expensive nowadays. Even
Yeah.
the lowest model ones, like a couple of hundred, like
Yeah.
several $100s.
Yeah, I'm not putting it on my plan bill.
Yeah.
You
Like,
can go back and rewatch this when you're older. Like, I'm not doing it, dude.
Pretty sure I might even have to check, but I'm pretty sure my sister made me pay for her second-hand phone, like
Off you.
off her. Yeah,
Hang on. Did your mum and dad buy it for her, or did she pay
she
for
bought it. She bought it.
it? Okay.
But and that was a big deal because it was a couple of $100, like
Yeah, back in the day.
$200 or something.
Back
like
in the
that.
day, yeah.
You had to buy credit, so there wasn't like the unlimitedness of like I don't ever worry now about how many text messages I've sent
No, I don't worry about that.
or
No.
like how long the text messages are or
Yeah, but
you
that
know.
was the thing you had to account
Yeah,
for back in the
yeah.
day. Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy to think about, like Tegan and I are about to travel to America at the end of April.
That's exciting.
Very exciting. And we're looking at like getting a SIM card
Yep.
because we're thinking, holy shit, are we going to be able to have access to the internet purely for maps? Because
True.
we don't know our way around.
True.
So that's what we're most concerned about.
You should just drive. No maps. You should just go.
Absolutely not.
Why not? That's adventure starts when comfort ends. I think
Sounds-
Betty White said that.
That sounds terrible. Yeah, isn't Betty White dead?
Yeah, same birthday though.
Again?
January 17th, man.
How many people were fucking born on that day?
Who I got? I got Betty White,
Okay.
Benjamin Franklin.
And him.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin.
Fuck, man.
Muhammad Ali,
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, 2 DJs. I think one's called Tiesto.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, some other fucking basketballer.
What if we go back?
Oh, the guy off Eurotrip, Scotty. Scotty off Eurotrip.
Well, Scotty didn't know though.
He knew that he had the same birthday as me.
Well, you have the
Fucking
same
legend
as him.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
8th of July.
I always get that one wrong.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I'm well aware. Because I get a late text message.
Fuck off.
I get a late text message or the day after, like, oh, sorry, mate.
I treat you like a fucking king for the rest of the year. All right, I fuck up on one day. All right, and Hands
that's
is the
the
11th of June.
That's the one special day I get.
Hands is the 11th of June. My mate Brad's is the 11th of July.
Mm.
My dad's is the 28th of July.
Do you remember all of those? Well, obviously, you fucking name them off the top of your head.
I remember Hands.
And those other
I remember
two.
Hands. I often forget Brad's and Dad's dad.
That's an interesting thing about birthdays specifically, because now, Facebook.
Yep.
You don't really need to remember that many people's birthdays. Facebook just tells me.
Yeah.
It's so-and-so's birthday today, or it's,
Yeah,
and then you can just type it in there. Like, they've made it so easy.
yeah, like fucking here's a generic fucking happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, whereas Nana has a book.
yeah.
She's still alive.
Yeah, I
She has
remember.
a
Yeah,
book.
my grandparents were big on that as well. They knew, like, they had it all written down, and
And Nana never forgets.
yeah.
Ever.
Mm.
Ever.
It's because she's got it written down.
She's got it written down. But it's like, even with that prompt from social media, I still forget,
Yeah, I'm aware.
Fuck off.
I'm
cunt.
disappointed. That's what I am. Did you get that?
I promise you this year I won't forget. It's on camera.
It's on camera, man.
It's on, on the record that I will not forget your birthday this year, promise.
Oh man, that will be fucking.
If
hell to
I
pay.
if I do forget it, we'll figure out what punishment it is or what I have to recompensate you. We'll figure
Yeah.
that out.
Get to
Maybe we could get some suggestions.
cut off a finger or something. So then you get a yearly
Fuck,
reminder.
yeah, yearly reminder. Yeah,
Fuck, I really forgot that one year.
yeah, fuck.
Then like you're down to one finger.
Yeah, I'm just like this.
You're like, I'm not
what
really.
is it I'm supposed to fucking remember about today? Like,
Oh man.
Flash forward to the next week. I'm like, fuck.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. But yeah, that's interesting. Like you don't, like I don't, and then even phone numbers, right? Like I remember back in the day when I was in high school and primary school, you remembered your mate's phone number because you'd call them on the landline,
Yeah.
and then you'd be like, "Oh, is bloody Josh there?" Yeah. Mate,
Well, yeah. What was
oh."
my mate Tommy Cram's one?
Like I only remember.
I remember it.
I remember my landline from home, my parents' home landline.
Yep.
And that's like it. And then I know my dad's mobile off the top of my head. and my own, and that's it. I don't know Tegan's off the top of my head.
You don't know Tegan's off the top of your head?
No. He's
Shit.
0-4 something.
Yeah, I know hands.
I just have never like I'm always like I should remember that. I still don't.
I learnt hands like after the second day I met her
Alrighty-o.
because I just knew.
Oh, here we go.
I did. 100%.
I just saved it in my phone.
Fair enough, though.
That's
I
what
couldn't
find.
tell you my brothers. Couldn't tell you my sisters. I
No.
know dads.
Yeah, I only know my dad's. Don't know my
I
mum's.
think I used to know mums. 04. I can't remember.
No. But
But,
see, that's the thing, right? And it's like, is that important? Do we
Yeah.
need to know how to remember that? Because now we've got this device,
No,
It
I think
helps
we've
us
become
remember.
I think we've become dumber.
very dependent.
Very dependent on
Very
technology.
dependent.
Like, imagine if it just all went beep, gone. See you later.
Well, there's a lot of TV shows and movies about that sort of thing. And
Yeah, I think like we would adapt pretty quickly. Like humans are great at adapting, but people would freak the fuck out for a while.
oh yeah, yeah,
You know,
it'd be pretty wild to say the least.
it'd be fucking hectic.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy. But yeah. But then like it'd be interesting to know and look up the studies in what it is regards to like kids and all of that and like how it, because we bring it back to them and sort of their development and stuff. Because if you think about that, because that's one thing I think of is I never want my kids to like miss out. So you want to make sure that they get all the opportunities, but then they're not hindered by something because you always hear about like, oh, this or that, this is bad for
Well,
them,
I
that's
just
bad
think
for
it's.
'em.
I think that you can give them access to it, but there has to be boundaries. They can't make up their own mind how much they use it.
Yeah.
Because if you let them, they're just gonna do what the little 4-year-old dude did and spend $7,000 on fucking
Yeah.
Roblox.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be boundaries. And what were you talking about, young Addie?
Oh yeah. So my niece.
Yep.
So she wakes up quite early of a Saturday or a Sunday.
How early are we talking?
Oh, like 5 a.m. And so of course her parents are like, we want to sleep in.
They want to have
It's
a
Fri-
snooze.
It's Friday. It's Saturday or Sunday. We want to sleep in.
Yep.
So they go, yeah, that's okay. Go on your iPad. You have half an hour. Set a timer, and the timer has to be quite loud. And then when that timer goes off, they can hear it, and they go, all right, time's up. You've had your half hour.
See, I would go as far as like to set one as well myself.
Yeah. And so
Know what I
that's,
mean?
I guess that comes down to a trust thing.
True. Yeah,
and
that is.
they have given her that responsibility, and
True.
she,
That's
and
cool.
she hasn't, I
I
guess,
like that.
making the error yet. So she hasn't.
Made the
She's
error.
she's following the rules.
Yep.
And because she's following the rules, she keep having it.
Yeah,
Right.
you can reward them for
And
you
then
doing
of
the right
course,
thing. Yeah.
I've heard it where she tries to bargain. Oh mate, another 5 minutes. No,
Nah.
like, nah.
Nah.
And that's of course right. Kids do that, right?
Yep. And if you fucking run your mouth, that's it. Gone. You're gonna miss out for a whole day now. Draw me a picture.
I like how we talk about childhood trauma and all that sort of stuff, and how we have childhood trauma.
But mate, negative punishment is an actual thing. It's like, okay, the kid, like if you're gonna be a fucking idiot, like, and you're gonna push the boundaries, I'll be like, no, you can't do that. And if they continue on that way, I'll be like, look, your behavior has directly resulted in you losing this privilege.
And I'm gonna drop kick you across the room.
No, I'm not gonna physically hurt you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might want to,
Yeah.
but it's like your behavior. It's what I do with dogs all the time. Don't fuck around. Do what I ask you to do, and good things are going to happen. You can do the things that you want to do. But if you go outside the boundaries of that, then you miss out. The game's over. It's finished. And you can see the frustration on like Bob and Loco. They're like, fucking, I fucked up. And then you wait. You could even wait a few hours and then do it again. And then you see a rapid shift in what happened that was the catalyst for them fucking up.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, I've learnt from that. And then you go, yes, now I can reward you for it again. And so it's like, if a kid is going to crack the shits, that it's like, well, obviously this has caused you to feel a certain way. So maybe you need to take a break from it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your behavior.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Maybe you need some time to think about,
So they can self-regulate and
Yes.
stuff like that.
yeah, you can't just give them constant access to it whenever they want, because like, you know, they're getting the dopamine hits whenever they want. You know, like, so that's a good thing about Addie's parents. Like, they're just like, yeah, you can have half an hour. I trust you to be a good girl and do what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do on the iPad. And then once that half hour's up, that's it, you know?
The good thing is she's super active as well. Like, they've now got a little bit of land up in Gladstone, and you know, she bloody convinced me to get on the trampoline, which was a terrible mistake.
Trampolines are sick.
Well, terrible for me personally,
Why?
physically.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I can totally do this. Could not.
What couldn't you do?
I tried to do that thing where, you know, you
The
jump.
and then knees and then jump again.
Yeah, well, no, jump and you go back, and then like kick back
kick
up.
back up
yeah.
again,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
a ton of bricks. I was down. I was down for the count, and she just kept bouncing around. I was like,
Yeah,
this-
man. Isn't it?
She's
it's
like 9, so
so cool to see kids like just super like flexible
Yeah.
and like resilient in that way. And then you
Yeah.
get to like your early to mid 30s and you're just like, fuck, I cannot move. You know, I've been trying to stretch a heap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's humbling for sure, but it's fucking pretty good.
That's good.
You
That's
know,
good.
do you stretch much?
Yeah, I try to stretch at the end of my exercise, end of my workouts.
So
Is it-
I'll just do it now. Like,
Do it right. You'll do it right now.
maybe, but probably not.
Oh, okay.
But like if the TV, like Han and I are watching TV, and then like I'll just grab the yoga mat and fucking. There's a guy, a YouTube guy. He's awesome. I get so many of his ads now. He's called Yoga Body, and he talks about like back, you know, strength and you know back people with back problems and like hip mobility and stuff. And like my hips are fucking locked up tight,
Yeah.
like a fucking big snake is just like coiled around them, you know. And it restricts everything else that you do. You don't appreciate it when you're a kid because you're like, it's just, you know, you're so much more flexible and
Yeah.
malleable and stuff. And then you get to this age and you're fucking flexibility of a fucking Calvinator.
Yeah. It's interesting having worked in the industry and sort of knowing a little bit about it, and then you know all the things, but you don't necessarily do all the things.
100%. It's like,
so,
you know,
yeah,
a
I know a
mechanic-
lot about it.
yeah, exactly. But there's knowing and then there's doing the discipline to do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people have that. And that's fair enough. Like, there's other things you'd rather do. Just be comfortable, chill out, fucking
Yeah.
sit on the couch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's the same with dog training. Like, I know a lot of it about it in theory. Do I apply the principles of it all the time? No. My fucking dog sits on my fucking dinner table while I'm eating dinner. You know, because
I've seen
I think
that.
it's fucking cute.
It is pretty cute.
You know, but she gets down if I ask her to get down. But
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, she'll just give me a kiss trying to get some food.
And sometimes you give it to her.
Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. So it's like, you know, it's like a mechanic. They work on cars all day and then they come home and their car's a fucking piece of shit.
Or like the chef that never wants to cook at home.
That's right. Yeah.
That's like Tig. He said he always hated
He
cooking.
always hated cooking at home.
Yeah.
But then he won't ever let anybody else cook,
Yeah.
you know, because he's
Yeah.
a fucking control freak too.
Yeah, that was sort of just a general vibe from him. Wouldn't let you do much. Best snowboarder, you know. Had to have his way.
He's pretty good at
He's actually a
snowboarding.
really good snowboarder, yeah.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't just like let you go do your own thing. He
No.
would sort of, yeah,
I did
Uh,
once and I got fucking cleaned up by an Austrian.
yeah, skier, fucking.
Oh yeah,
skiers.
fucking just absolute T-boned me, mate. Remember I got
Oh
like,
yeah, I was there.
taken down the mountain by the fucking
Yeah.
Japanese dudes with the
Yeah,
sled.
I remember coming around the corner and being like, "Oh man, someone got fucked up."
And it
Wonder
was
who that
me.
was.
It was me.
Oh, that's Josh.
Yeah, and there was actually nothing wrong with me. I just felt super bad that Austrian dude had like collided with me and then hit another little girl. And
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I was like, oh fuck, like
Yeah, but
I'm in the hurt locker.
Didn't he cork you? He gave you like a
He gave me a
decent
pretty
bruise.
a nice cork on my. It was my.
Because you turned into
I
it.
turned into him, so
Yeah,
it was like
so-
my right leg.
Yeah.
And yeah, fuck, dude.
And that's when you got another insult from a healthcare professional. So a Nepalese person said you had a weak heart,
he did.
and then this guy.
he wasn't a healthcare professional.
Oh yeah, true.
he
true.
worked at the fucking airstrip.
Sorry,
and he
so
was just laying down facts, just giving me like, just telling me I had a weak
health
heart.
advice from foreigners.
yeah.
So then the Japanese
They used
guy
to-
that we all struggled to lift you up out of the Japanese sized
It's a bobsled thing.
bobsled,
Yeah.
which was tiny. And
I couldn't fit in it.
no.
No.
And then he like, oh, you're so heavy. You're so heavy. And we're like, yeah, okay, yep.
Thank you.
Good for that self-esteem.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
And
definitely doesn't keep me awake at night.
no, and that was what in 2016 or 17.
2015. No, 2016. Started 2016, I think.
Started
Yeah,
2016.
you're right.
But yeah,
Yep.
good times.
Great times, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. But how do you want to like travel with your kids? Because did you travel much as a kid?
Nah, not really. We went to New Zealand. Like mum and dad, like creatures of habit. So it was like they just would go to a place for a holiday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the same place.
yeah. So it was either Singapore or New Zealand, and like I never went to Singapore. They took Harry, because Harry's the fucking favorite child. It goes like Amy, Harry, and then I'm down the bottom. Like there's a pretty big gap, so I never got to go.
Makes sense.
But I got to go to New Zealand, and so like Han traveled lots of different places when she was a kid, because her mum was a flighty for Qantas, and they got staff travel, and it was a big it was
Well, obviously,
a priority for them to travel.
obviously, if she's a flight attendant, her mum is a flight attendant. You think that that's a big part of her like identity as well. So she must
huge, yeah.
love travel.
Yep.
So she wants to share that with her family.
Yep, absolutely.
And why not when you've got the advantage of staff travel?
100%, absolutely.
You know? So
For me, like I'm not super phased about it. Like, if Hanny wanted to do it, 100%, I'm on board. Like, where I'd like to take them, places like New Zealand, like that's a good start, because I'd want to take them places where it's like natural beauty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like instead of
over to my place.
yeah, you're fucking
Because I'm a fucking beautiful dude.
fuck off, guys. But like, I'd love to go to Alaska.
Oh yeah. That'd be nice.
Places like that, big mountains. You and I like mountains. Han loves the ocean.
Yep, same with Tegan.
I could care less about the ocean, to be honest.
You know, it's a pretty good mountain.
What?
Mount Everest.
Mount Everest. We've been to base camp.
We've seen it.
Knuckles. There you go.
It was pretty good when we saw it.
Fuck. Can you put the photo up of me like just close to death?
Yeah.
Andy's got his Summer Nats shirt on.
Yeah. I can do that. I can
put
do
that up. You could like find a way to like put that in.
Yeah,
the
of course I can.
thing. Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
Because I was in the fucking Hurt Locker, man.
But when we go to America, we're going to like Yosemite. That's a big thing I really want to see.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Because that's pretty spectacular. We're going to Colorado, and that's pretty high up.
I'd love to go there as well, man. Like, see the Rocky
Utah,
Mountains.
Wyoming.
You going to Utah and Wyoming?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, you're going to some decent places.
Well,
man.
our big thing is to try. We are very along the same lines of we want to see like natural beauty and
Nice.
crazy things. And
Are you going to Grand Canyon?
yeah, we will do a trip from Vegas to Grand Canyon.
Sick.
So
You got to see that, man.
Yeah.
Like I've never been to America. Probably will never get the chance to go. Like if I had the choice, okay. So this is what Hannah and I speak about like a lot as well. It's like a lot of people. It's like America or Europe, and I'd probably choose Europe.
Yeah,
You know what
well,
I mean?
I've been to Europe, and it's a pretty interesting place because there's just like so many different things
Yeah,
like
such a small place.
I did 22. I did 15 countries in 22 days on a Kentucky,
Wow.
and it's just like we had lunch in one place, and we like drove all the way through it. We had lunch, we kept going, and then we were in another country.
Yeah,
That's like a weird thing to have being an Australian. Like we drove 12 hours.
and it's also different too.
Yeah,
Like you
'Cause
you
it's
drive from
completely
Queensland to Perth.
Mhm.
Not much is going to change.
no. No.
Like there's not a lot of difference.
Like we drove 12 hours from Brisbane or the Sunshine Coast to Airlie Beach, and that was in one day.
Yeah,
We drove, and we're still in the same state.
still in the same state, man. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Eh?
Yeah. Well, I didn't drive much. But,
You drive fuck all.
hey, I did that.
Don't say
I
you
did that day.
No,
I did that
you
day.
don't. You did.
I
That.
did like 40%.
Fuck off.
I did 40%.
I don't believe you, John.
Well,
But
let's agree to disagree.
okay. What was your favorite place in Europe?
Paris was pretty cool.
Yeah. Wicked.
Paris is pretty cool because it's like the Eiffel Tower is just, I don't know, it's just something weird that you see it in movies and it's there and it's just fucking huge.
Yep.
and you're just like, what the fuck, man?
Bigger
This-
than you can like really comprehend without
Yeah.
seeing it in the flesh.
yeah, and it's just so weird, and like it's almost emotional for like no reason. Like I have no connection to France or
Really?
yeah, but like I was like, holy shit, this is crazy, because I think it's something you see all the time in all the movies and everything, and it's a highlight, and you're just like, there it is, I'm right here,
Yeah, you've seen it.
and you know you get all the photos.
I
And
wish I'd got that emotional response when one of our Sherpas goes, "Look, there's Everest," and I was like, "I don't give a fuck, mate." Like, to be honest with you, like
I was pretty excited, but
I was about to throw up.
I remember we saw it before we got there, because when you start to get towards base camp, it's
Oh
hard
yeah,
to
well
see.
after we got to the monastery,
yeah,
when we got to the monastery and we got to our accommodation, they were like, "There it is,"
that was
and I was
cool.
like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool."
Pretty sure we took like heaps of photos.
We fucking did, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got heaps of photos of that.
But yeah, I was just next time if I ever went to Nepal again, I'd go much slower. You know.
Yeah, well, you couldn't definitely go faster than you were going, because you were going fucking fast.
Oh, look out!
On that bloody note,
Oh, what a
hey?
fucking speggy! All right, we'll turn that off. Hang on, what am I
Not,
going
not
to do?
repeat.
That. Oh, is it? It's going.
Fucking dickhead. He's a technophobe, people. He's a technophobe. Can't
But
even
I've
use.
got an Apple Watch.
You don't know how to use it
Didn't,
properly.
didn't close my rings today, unfortunately. That's all right.
What, beg your pardon? Didn't close your ring. Beg your pardon?
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, that's been another episode, and
That's
so
the completion of episode 7.
so I feel like we covered a fair bit off topic as usual, but you know we'll circle back.
Typical
around.
me, I can't remember a fucking thing we
We'll
talked
circle
about.
back around. We'll circle around.
Yeah, we'll circle around.
But yeah,
We'll rewatch it, and then yeah, next time we might talk about I don't know
something foolish.
something foolish.
Something foolish.
But I hope you have a great week. Thanks for tuning in if you did, and you know, send us any little fucking funny stories or you know, traveling with kids or technology with
Oh, yeah.
kids.
Yeah, that's
You
good
know,
ones.
all those sorts
Or
of things
traveling with kids and technology.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty handy.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we have.